All right, you guys know how much I love these Coleman heaters. Can't get enough of them. I've got them scattered everywhere. So today I'm going to fire up a couple of these, and we're going to compare this Canadian one, which is probably from the 60s, I'm guessing, and there's no date on it, and this one, which is from, again, I don't remember the date, but this was the Crusty one that I had laying around that's been just sitting in the weather, but it was clean on the inside. So we're going to fire these both up and check to see which one is the hottest. So if there's something you're interested in, let's get started. All right, so I just picked up a couple fresh cans of Coleman fuel, and I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of these heaters ready to go. And for my Canadian friends, I'm going to go ahead and fire up my Canadian model catalyst heater, and we're also going to pull the brand new one out of the box. I don't remember too much about this. I just remember I bought it and I haven't really played with it. And I think I'm also going to fire up the two Japanese ones, as well as getting my 200 lanterns down and getting some fuel in those as well. I've got a couple of other green ones here, not so important. All right, but I think before then, I'm going to just use my little Coleman stove here, and it's full, so I'm going to go ahead and make some coffee, actually make some tea. So I'm going to go ahead and fire this thing up and start boiling some water. All right, this thing's usually ready to go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put my teapot on there. Yes, I'm going to move the cans of fuel out of the way. And I'm just going to let this thing come to a boil while I do the rest of my stuff. All right, finally we got the tea kettle is going. So we're going to go ahead and pour off my hot water into my teacup. And we're just going to turn this thing off. Okay, so I've got and taken down my two Canadian heaters. This one's a pretty vintage 510. This one's a pretty vintage 510. And then this is a brand spanking new 518. Let's see if I could open this up one-handed. All right, so inside of here, let's look how nice this is. This thing's never been fired. You can see no soot at all, but I mean, everybody likes NOS. I like to be able to use stuff. So as I'm doing this video, I'm going to try and decide if this is one I'm going to keep because I like its compact size. Should I burn it now? Should we just burn this one? All right, I got to put the camera down again for a second. Okay, so when I'm looking at this earlier Canadian 510, I think it was, what was that? Anyways, you can see it's had some weather, but I'm seeing this lower tray in here. It's making me think that, you know, some of the lanterns I see when they have this lower tray, that is to as a pre-light for kerosene. So I'm not sure if this is supposed to be kerosene or fuel, you know, white gas, or both. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with this one. But I want to fire it up because I love firing these things up. So I'm going to take a stronger look at it and make a decision and fire up these two Canadians. Okay, I've taken down the earlier 5,000 BTU, non-adjustable, but that thing is also brand new. And then I've taken down this rusty old bucket here. Let's see if I can move my tea. Let's see if I can open this one up. Okay, this one is a victim of just sitting around for too long outside. Doesn't look like it's been burned too much. Look at that. How nice that is. So even though this cover is really beat up and ugly, that will still burn nicely. And I may go ahead and prove that fact. Let's see if I can get this thing working. Let's see what it looks like inside there. Looks pretty good. All right, let's get to it. Here's where we are now. I filled up the Crusty with fuel. You shake it, you can hear the fuel in there, so we're going to go ahead and turn that upside down and let it weep. These two have wick all the way inside of it, so you shake it, you don't hear any fuel, but I just put some in each one of those. And this instruction is to put a couple capfuls of fuel on the top, is the way I used to even light these Coleman ones. And then the same thing, I've got the Canadian Coleman filled up. It also feels like it's got a wick inside there because it doesn't, you know, splash around. So I don't know how that one's going to work. That one I'm going to turn upside down as well. It says to give it a couple capfuls of fuel on the top. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of douse it a bit on both of these. And then I'm going to fire them up. Okay, the Canadian one, I'm going to turn it upside down. I don't hear any kind of seepage. I guess I could read the instructions. Okay, so this one will need to be primed as well. Although, it looks like I see a little bit of seepage. I'm going to give this another try. Why not give it a little bit extra help? Okay, we'll let that one burn down. Come over to the Coleman. I hope that's still in frame. We'll turn this over for a few seconds. See if we get some seepage. Here it comes. And this lever's pretty messed up, so I'm going to put it right in the middle. And we'll try and move this guy back as well. Let's hope we're in frame. The Canadian one seemed to have gone out first, so let's go ahead and shut that lid and just kind of keep an eye on it. We have one of the small ones that's gone out already. We'll see how that does. Now the whole thing is you're supposed to be able to put this on there and use this as a cooktop. Some people have told me that if you use these out in the desert, you use this to add humidity to your tent. So I'm going to let this continue to heat up, and then maybe we'll try and boil some water on that. Okay, now that the big one has burned out, let's let them sit. We'll close this lid and let these sit. I don't feel a lot of heat coming off of that. Barely any heat coming off of that. $200 on the Coleman. I don't know which direction this lever is supposed to be. Let's put it all the way down and let the heat some more. The Canadian did not make it. We're not going to give up on that one though. We're going to add some more fuel and turn it upside down for a while and really heat up. Now, these two little guys, I'm going to put the lids on them and see if they generate enough heat. All right, so I set the Canadian one upside down for a while, and you can see now how much it's really saturated. So I'm gonna go ahead and light it again and just let it do its thing and burn off. I flipped this lever all the way up, and now I'm starting to get heat again. These two, I mean, that water's still ice cold. All right, we'll give the Canadian model a chance to burn itself out, and we'll be back. The flame just went out again, and let's see. We've got some really high temperatures starting out, so maybe it just needed to be more saturated. All right, let's give this a little bit of time. It'll come back to here. Still only a couple hundred degrees. Not quite hot enough. All right, I'll come back to this one shortly. Right, another half hour's passed. Let's take a look at the old beat up Coleman. Oh, that's better. We're at 300 degrees by turning it up. And our friend from Canada here, again, 300 degrees. Oh, there we go, there we go. Finding the hot spots. All right, Canadian, Coleman Canadian lantern. Try that again. The Canadian Catalyst heater works great. It's beat up and used, but works great. And this rust bucket still holding its own. There's no bail in it, so you can't really move it around. So I was carrying these things back into the workshop to snuff them out. I felt so much heat coming off of that, so I figured I'm going to keep these alive on the workbench just for a little while and take a couple more temperature readings. So you can see right around 420, and a little bit more. The Canadian model actually works better. Yay! All right, now this that. We're gonna go ahead and end this one here. And next up, we're gonna fire all three avocados. All right, one last thing. I guess it's time to snuff these out. So here's that crusty old top. You wanna see how hot this one is? 700 degrees. Plenty warm. I feel the heat from here. So I turn the lever off. We're just gonna snuff that out, just like this. The Canadian, there's no on-off switch. Ooh, it even got to the max. Look at that, 800 degrees, and you could just feel the heat pumping off of this. Somewhere around here, I have the lid. Here it is. And we're gonna go ahead and snuff out the Canadian model and call it a day. All right, thanks for watching.